Well, joining us in the studio now is the Hounslow councillor Hanif Khan. Thank you very much for coming in this morning. Just explain to our viewers, particularly those who don't live in London and perhaps might not be used to major incidents being declared, exactly what that means for Londoners.
Yeah, sure. Well, the first thing is, I think Sadiq Khan has done the right thing. I think it's really important. And what that means is that the emergency services, like the blue light services, they can work more efficiently together. And also it means that the challenges that they have to stick to, the strict timings, there's a different way of working, which means they can work much more closer, more better, more aligned, and be a lot more efficient.
And it unlocks a pool of resources in terms of funding as well, doesn't it? And we've seen these kinds of major incidents declared, what, other periods during the COVID pandemic, and also things like the Westminster Bridge attack? Yeah,
also, and Grenfell as well. I mean, these aren't new measures that take place. So, yeah, it's definitely the right thing to do, especially when you've got Omicron virus excelling in London. As you said earlier, it does. It just always starts in London. So we see the leadership through Sadiq Khan declaring this major incident because we see the pattern. We've got NHS staff that are struggling. We're down in staff that make it really difficult for people who have to take time off for 10 days. You know, it's really difficult. So it's really key that he's made this decision, and it's the right decision to make.
A lot of people are asking us why the Nightingale hospitals aren't being reopened if this Omicron wave is so severe.
Well, you need to ask the government about that, really. I mean, it was fantastic when it was opened. Is there a decision for that to happen again now? The government, I think, needs to step up and make that decision.
Couldn't Sadiq Khan do that? Does he not have the authority to open more hospitals to make those kind of facilities available?
Well, if it's the opportunity is there, because what we're seeing is that the staff shortages in hospitals are going up. The beds that are available in our hospitals are not available. So something needs to happen for that to take place.
I don't know how the hospitals are coping in your particular ward. I think hospitalisations across the capital have gone up 28% in the last week based on the Omicron variant. We're yet to see the impact on deaths at the moment. But it's, as you say, creating this huge pressure in terms of staff absences, an increase in demand over a very short period of time. The situation is clearly serious. How confident are you that the government is taking the best approach to this? I mean, are you happy that we're actually quite low down compared to other parts of the country in terms of take-up of the booster, for example?
In terms of low down, I mean, London, it's just going up exponentially. I mean, we need to take action right now. The booster vaccination process is working really well, especially in Hounslow, where I represent. We have the contingency plans in place, working really to maximise the situation we're in. I mean, we as a borough have worked really hard to improve the uptake of the vaccination. We've been reaching all the hard-to-reach communities, working really closely with them, and we understand the situations that people are suffering and the challenges that we have. I mean, we as a borough won the LGC award because of the work that we've been doing during the COVID pandemic, and that's a very prestigious award.
What's the vaccine take-up been like in your particular area? Because, I mean, of course, the concern is from certain quarters is if people don't take up the vaccine, if people aren't taking regular tests, the alternative is a lockdown. And what would that mean in your borough as well?
I mean, our residents and also residents across London and even across the whole country as well. I mean, any lockdown at the moment will create a lot of problems for those people who need the work and who have been working. But actually, we can't take the risk. You know, what do? We cannot take the risk. We've always been a bit slow in responding if you look at the process that's happened. So I think, again, where you see the situation where the Mayor of London has taken action quite effectively, I think it's important. I mean, the take-up of the vaccine and the work that's being done by local authorities, it's really good. And they've been up the front, they've been working really hard to vaccinate the population and make it very easy for them to be able to vaccinate. And it's been a priority. And there are many leaders within our borough and across the borough that are championing the take-up of the booster, because if we don't, you know, how are we going to want to protect our loved ones? And that's the key thing there.
Why is it less in the capital, do you think?
I mean, I don't know the fact that if it is less in the capital, but because the situation changes all the time. And across the London as well, it changes. I mean, we have a very multicultural society in London. You've got people from so many different backgrounds. I mean, alone in Hounslow, there are more than nearly 200 languages that are spoken.
Yeah.
And everyone is different. Everybody's situation is different and how they take it up. But actually, I know we are working really hard to make sure that our residents in Hounslow and across London and across like other authorities, that people take up the vaccine because it is the right thing to do.
Well, really good to get your thoughts. Thank you so much for coming in, Councillor Hanif Khan, sort of speaking as well on behalf of Sadiq Khan there as well, both at Labour. Really good to talk to you this morning. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.